Inspiring Uganda, thank you so much for choosing us. And it is Entrepreneurs Hub. Thank you for joining us for this particular episode. My name is Sandra Kahonde, welcoming you. Every story to us, it really matters to inspire the entrepreneur out there. And like we always say, here to inspire and help you get to understand how you can uplift your small or medium enterprise in business. My guest for the day, wow. Expect so much more to do with inspiration, and you're going to get onto your toes and do something after this whole conversation. I'm having Brent Sobol from United States. Hope I have all that right. Junior Achievers Uganda. You've heard about that Junior Achievement Company in Uganda. It's been here for a while, but it's going to give us a little bit of background of it. And yes, inspiration you can expect. Brent, you're most welcome to the program. You tell us how you've been, how the year is for you, the year 2025, and a little bit about Junior Achievers Uganda.
Oh, well, thanks, Sandra. It's great to be here. You know, I got here last night. I traveled 30 hours and 4 flights to come to Uganda, JA, Junior Achievement, and it's a delight. So thank you. You know, Junior Achievement is an organization that's been around for over 100 years in America. And it's just in the last 25 or so that it's gone worldwide, and it's in over 100 countries now. And the reason it's in 100 countries is because it works. Junior Achievement works. It helps young people be their best. It helps small companies grow big. It trains the workforce. And it's free to young people that want to be involved in it.
You have credited Junior Achievers, and they've really helped you with the entrepreneurial skills. Just wondering, how have they shaped your career and the entrepreneurial part of you?
Sure. Well, I took Junior Achievement for 4 years in high school in St. Louis, Missouri. And it was very formative for me because I got cut from all the sports teams. I'm dyslexic, and so it was hard for me to do math and things. So Junior Achievement was a home for me to learn skills that allowed me to be successful in business and in life. And when you are involved in Junior Achievement, you actually start a small business. You create a product. Everyone decides what you're going to sell and create. You sell it. You have a management team. You do production. And you market the product, and then you compete with other companies on being technically excellent. And so the skills that you learn when you're doing that in high school carry through for the rest of your life.
Okay. We, as business people, usually as entrepreneurs, they make a number of mistakes. In your journey, what are some of those lessons that you've learned from?
So I love to talk to younger students now about Junior Achievement. And the number one question I get is, not how many mistakes have you made, but have you made a mistake? Young people today are really afraid to make mistakes. And I'm not really sure where this is coming from, too much social media, what have you, but I made a ton of mistakes. And almost every entrepreneur that you talk with, every successful business owner will tell you that they made a lot of mistakes in their life, and that what really matters is how you come back from those mistakes. Today I spoke with about 250 high school students, and again, that was a question. What was it like to fail? How'd you come back? And you just have to be resilient. You have to be disciplined. You know, our culture really isn't talking about the virtues of being disciplined and resilient. But if you want to do really well in business, you've got to have those skills. And JA fosters that in a positive way.
Well, I'll just get the facts right with the next question. Just getting the facts right. With you successfully turning around 14 apartment communities and established $10 million impact investment fund, how do you balance financial returns with creating positive social impact?
Yeah, it's a good question. You know, sometimes capitalism gets a bad rep. Sometimes talking about making money is not always healthy or wholesome. And I think what JA does is it talks about making money in a healthy sense, how it helps humanity, helps the community, creates good jobs, allows people to feel confident. You get out of bed in the morning and you want to contribute. Junior Achievement, it starts that thinking. Now, as for the balance on impact between profit and people, it's a great question, and the whole world is struggling with that Because on one hand, if you have too much profit, you're sort of raping the environment and the community. But on the other hand, if you're just giving it all away in aid, then people don't have an incentive to work, to be their best. So I really think the balance is, and the right answer is, the middle ground. And when you're in a junior achievement program, it talks about that. Because you have to make decisions at a very early age. Young people are formulating what they want to do when they're in grade school and high school, and shaping what they're then going to do for the rest of their lives. So this program really is good for that. There's no reason for any young person to not at least give it a try.
And maybe just exciting them. That is,
Yes.
It is really interesting to get to the Junior Achievement Program itself, because I'm well aware, at least this is the second time for you to be in Uganda, but I'm sure you've heard of that story that unemployment is common around the young Ugandans here. How would you change the mindset to be job creators and not seekers? Are the good things that they're trying to change the curriculum for people to get to understand that it's better to get into skilling, but how can Junior Achievement as a program enable them to do that?
Listen, everybody likes money, right? And one of the biggest problems that young people have is they don't have an opportunity to make money. And so what do? Things that aren't that wholesome. So what JA does, it teaches young people how to make money responsibly. And when you have some bucks on your hip, you have more options in life. So that's what's going to motivate people to choose better.
Okay, what are some of those mistakes they cite out that you see in the young entrepreneurs? Some of those mistakes that you're like, this has to change for them to succeed.
The biggest thing is young people think that they're going to get rich quick, because that's what they see on Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok. And the reality is, most really wealthy people that have wealth, that can afford a house, a car, a college education, some vacations, what we all want, is you accumulate that over a period of time by being disciplined. So JA really talks about having the right mindset for money, mindset for your life, and realizing that making money in a healthy way is a really good thing.
Okay, what are those practical things that Ugandans have to make, or the entrepreneurs, to sustain their businesses that can help them away from the social media?
Her big smile just distracted me over there. I love these Ugandan smiles. They're fantastic.
Okay, we send greetings to Rachel Mwaga. We send greetings to Rachel.
Thank you. Okay, so I think your question is, what do young Ugandans need to do to be successful in business? All right, I think you have to build a resiliency. You can't be afraid to fail. You can't be afraid to hear no. You have to be willing to set some goals. You have to go out on a limb a little bit and just take some risks. You have to be a team player. Most wealthy people do not get rich in a silo. They do so because they worked with a team. My company had over 60 employees. You have to learn how to work with other people peacefully. So the basics. It was very interesting to me today when we did our talk to the hundreds of students. There's a manual for junior achievement. It's just a simple book. And I was looking through it, and it is the exact same manual, or very similar to the manual that I used 30 years ago. And I told the kids, I said, kids, business doesn't change that much. It's about great customer service. It's about solving a problem. It's about having some hustle. It's about having some ingenuity, It's about having process. We're talking about that 35 years ago, and it's the same thing for today. But we want to think that because somebody's got some newfangled idea on the internet and they want to sell you a system that maybe it's better, or as we used to say, they've built a better mousetrap. Not really. The fundamentals really apply. And by the way, there have been a lot of famous people that have been through the Junior Achievement Program. The founder of WhatsApp, I think you're on WhatsApp right there. He's a Junior Achievement graduate. Mark Cuban, the very famous shark on Shark Tank. He's a Junior Achievement graduate. A lot of elected officials in leadership have been on Junior Achievement graduates. So I'm proud. But there's also a whole lot that have just done really well for themselves and their family that are not in the media, but they learned what they needed to learn to be successful through the fundamentals of the JA program.
I told you, it's really quite interesting.
How about that?
As soon as you get done with the show, you definitely get to your toes and do something interesting. It is UBC Inspiring Uganda Entrepreneurs Hub, helping you to grow your small and medium enterprise. I guess for the day, wow, amazing. You talked about earlier on something to do with falling, failing in business, and we saw that when we were hit the COVID pandemic.
Sure.
And then also there's one getting into an investment 2 years down the road, they want to do something else, or because the other one has failed. What advice would you give them?
Well,
How did you get up?
how did I
How to get up?
how did I get up?
How to get up?
Well, I didn't like being dependent on anybody else. You know, I didn't grow up with money. I grew up in a tough neighborhood, and there were people around me that got all their money from the government. And I just said, I'm not going to be like that. I want to have a life that where I choose my path, not where somebody tells me where to go every day. And business was an avenue to do that. But it's about being resilient and not being afraid to hear no. And then having a vision for yourself, having a goal. One of the students today asked me, well, how do you know when to throw in the towel or try something else on an endeavor? And I said, young man, that's a really good question. I said, that's where wisdom comes in, and that's where you have mentors. You know, Junior Achievement provides great mentors, and they're looking for volunteers too. So if someone is listening to this and they want to help young people and they've got a good moral compass and they want to work with young people and teach business in a very structured curriculum that's proven, contact JA Uganda. I think you'll really enjoy that volunteer experience. I volunteer in Florida. I'm wearing a hat here that is for Junior Achievement Orlando, and I volunteer there. I talk to high school students about business.
Okay.
Many students think they can't do it, but you can. You certainly can. And if you look at the most successful business leaders in the world, they all had massive failures. Everybody. The Apple computer, the Microsoft, Starbucks, FedEx, Kentucky Fried Chicken. These companies were all told no so many times before they finally got the yes. Now they're household names and they're billionaires. And listen, I'm not advocating the JA is going to turn everybody into a billionaire or a millionaire. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that if you follow the steps that are taught in the program, you are going to be financially self-sufficient, I guarantee it, and you're also going to have a nice self-worth, and you're going to feel fulfilled. You're going to get up in the morning and say, I made a difference. I also tell young people, do something you like. Like you, I'm sure you like being a broadcaster, don't you?
I really do.
I can tell. See? So I say to young people, do something you like. Don't think you have to do something because everybody else says you should be doing it. You know, AI is very popular right now. I don't even know what the heck AI does. I don't think you need to jump into AI. Do something, unless it really appeals to you, but do something that you like. I enjoyed being a landlord. I was good at it, and it ended up being very profitable for me, created a lot of jobs, and created good housing for people.
So what motivated you to cross over and get to the real estate and focus onto that? Away from enjoying to being a landlord?
Okay, I'm going to tell you the truth because I like you.
I like you too.
Okay, I had a job, a corporate America job with a big name company, and I had a cubicle, and I had a big salary, and everybody could hear what I was saying. I didn't like that. I felt very insecure. And then one day I said, how can I make a lot of money and do what I want to do? And so I started reading books. And then a friend of mine said, hey, this property is for sale. What do you think about us going to look at buying it? And so I did. I bought it, and the rest is history. I just started rolling into other deals. But it started out of wanting to make some money. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make some money.
I know.
We have to dispel that myth.
Everyone needs to have some bucks on them.
But we should not be greedy. You know, you can't be too greedy out there. If anybody's watching this thing and you're greedy, don't be greedy. Be a little bit. Don't be a lot.
Okay. How do you define... How do you define success beyond the financial achievements?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, success with money is attainable by almost anybody. But the challenge by successful people with money is feeling fulfilled emotionally. And for me, it involves giving back. Fortunately, I don't have to work a 9-to-5 job. I can go and be involved in charitable causes like Junior Achievement, and it gives me a sense of self-worth. The other thing I'm doing here in Uganda, it's not just talking with the kids. I'm also going to orphanage in Mityana and being there for a week. It's a disabled children's orphanage. I went there last year with a group of Catholics, nuns, and I saw the problem, and I said, we're going to fix this. And so we got the water back on, we got the crops growing again, we got some toys for the kids, and so that makes me feel really good. When I go to church, one of my pastors said, you should do for one what you'd like to see done for all. And that's all I'm doing here.
Okay.
And that helps me feel fulfilled.
Okay, that's so beautiful. And okay, I'll definitely have to ask you.
Okay.
If you're not positioned into business or real estate or something, where else would you be best placed? Now that you speak about the orphanage.
No more children. Okay, that's number one. But so no more kids in my life. However, I like teaching because there was a saying my dad used to say: "To teach is to touch a life forever." I think we don't have enough good teachers. We don't have enough teachers, for one, and then we need teachers that are teaching the right things. In other words, are the young people learning skills that are going to help them in their lives? Listen, the kids that are just sitting there learning math and biology, that's not the skill set we need to grow a country. You know, we need people being out there doing. And Junior Achievement is a doers program, which is part of the reason I liked it, because I did have dyslexia and I did have some ADHD, which meant I didn't do too well in school. I didn't get great grades, but I was a doer. So that's what we need more of, teachers that can teach people how to do.
Okay. Salute to Junior Achievement Company. Do you love Uganda?
I do love Uganda. Everybody has been nice to me here. I do feel safe. You know, there is this myth that Americans have that all of Africa is dangerous, and certainly there are parts that are. But you know, I tell people I've felt safer in Uganda than I have in my home city of Orlando, because we have so much violence in America with guns and so much addiction. So yes, I've enjoyed it. Your countryside is beautiful. Your food is good. Thank you for inviting me to your country.
Wow. Good to see you, and a commendable job that you're doing with the orphanage in Mityana. Wish you all the best. And I'm just thinking, where else would you invest? If you're given an opportunity to invest in Uganda, which kind of business would you think about? Of course, with the experience and the training that you've had from Junior Achievement Uganda.
Well,
You still stick for real estate?
you're making me blush. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on that, because I don't know the environment.
But the good thing, you're coming back again. You come back again to Uganda.
It's my second visit. But you know, clearly agriculture is wonderful here. I mean, I've been amazed at what can be grown here.
So have you tried out any foods around?
Yeah, the passion fruit is really delicious, and your watermelon and your pineapple. I love those fruits. I had it for breakfast this morning. It's part of the reason I have so much pep, as I had these fresh Ugandan fruits.
Okay.
Delicious.
That sounds cool.
And
Okay.
your coffee is very strong too. Ooh, I'll tell you what, whoa.
Better than the one in...
Boom.
That sounds good. You're making me feel like having coffee now. Thank you for watching and staying still with our guest for the day, Brent Sobel from United States of America, inspiring the Ugandans. And of course, his story, amazing for the entrepreneurs out there. Well, at this moment, we want to understand how can the other, maybe a message for the other Junior Achievers alumni, what do they have to do, or what would you say to them to stay in check, stay connected, supportive, and encouraging other entrepreneurs out there worldwide? What message would you have for them? because they have to, inspire the other generations as far as entrepreneurship is concerned?
Okay, there's a great ethos to life. Giving is the path to happiness. Okay, I started with nothing. I now give back. Giving back is fun. My understanding is there's over 100,000 alumni of JA Uganda. If you're watching this, give back. Go to the website, call them, and volunteer, donate. It's fun. You got to where you are because somebody helped you. I got to where I was because I had mentors. JA was a big part of that. I had others too. But give back, especially if you're a ethical, moral business leader. We need more of that. None of this corruption stuff. You don't need corruption. You just need good business principles where you're solving someone's problem, you're working hard, and then you're enjoying the outcomes. I also want to mention this. Junior Achievement has been nominated 4 times for a Nobel Peace Prize. 4 times. That is a very prestigious thing. Now, why is that? Because 1, JA works, and 2, JA eliminates suffering. There are a lot of people watching this that are going to be sitting at home saying, oh, I don't know what I should do today. I don't know where I'm going to get the training. I don't know if I should trust this Instagram post or not. Look, call JA. If you're a young person, call JA. Get involved. Show up. See if it's for you. It could lead you down a great path of life that is very fulfilling.
Wow. Maybe I'm just getting your remarks for someone who is watching, a Ugandan, any individual who is watching, who has tuned in, a viewer who's watched you today, and would love to get inspiration on what's coming through from you. You talked about one wakes up in the morning and they're like, I don't feel like going to work today. There's a bit of a lack of motivation, but we see you have such great passion and you're giving back. How can you encourage such a person?
Listen, if you're having trouble getting up in the morning and making a go of life, don't give up. Okay, pray. Pray is good, but take action. Taking action is one of the most fundamental things. If I didn't buy my first property, I wouldn't have anything. If I didn't hire my first employee, it's you got to start somewhere. But don't just fight that urge to do nothing, or fight that urge to use marijuana or use too much alcohol. Fight that. You can do it. Train yourself. Be a coach. Find a positive people to be around that support you. And I promise you, over time, it'll work. And that's what I told the young people today. I said, just don't give up. Give it some time.
Oh, great words. Always smiling. Well, greetings to the people in Mityana as far as the orphanage is concerned. And I would congratulate you upon that. Wish you all the best. We pray that God enables you with all the plans that you have.
Amen.
Yes. Maybe something else that you would love to share with someone who's watching? Not giving up. Oh.
I'll be honest, I'm a little shy. I'm not really one to be on TV that much. So I don't have any great message for you guys other than just it's a pleasure to be here and share this story, and everything I've told you is the truth.
Well, greetings back home when you travel
you.
back.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for making time to inspire the young people and the entrepreneurs in Uganda.
Thank
Wish
you.
you all the best.
Can I give you a hug?
Wow. I'll go for one.
Oh.
Well, thank you so much for watching and making time. Our guest for the day, amazing, Brent Sobel from United States. And Entrepreneurs Hub, helping you grow your small and medium enterprise. Keep watching UBC as we inspire you. My name is Sandra Kahunde. Greetings to Rachel Mwagale, all the way from Junior Achievers Uganda. Yes. Take care.